was looking back over some of the things you've said over the years, and sometimes I couldn't figure out whether I said them or you said them. And we're going to figure out whether this was you or me saying these things. Okay, ready? Ready for a guess? Okay.
Trump versus Colbert, the meltdown that shook late-night television. When confidence crashes headfirst into accountability, sparks fly. And that night, the sparks turned into an inferno. Donald Trump walked onto the Late Show, convinced he would dominate Stephen Colbert's stage the same way he claimed to dominate boardrooms, headlines, and political debates. He had done late night before. He knew the rhythm. A few jokes at his expense, a few laughs he could brush off, and then a comfortable pivot back to self-promotion. But this night followed no familiar script. Colbert opened with a grin and a mischievous glint in his eye. I was looking back over some of the things you've said over the years, he told Trump, and sometimes I couldn't figure out whether I said them or you said them. The audience chuckled. Trump nodded, relaxed. So, Colbert continued, I'd like your help figuring this out. I'm going to put up a couple of quotes at the bottom of the screen, and we'll decide, was this you or was this me? Okay, Trump said confidently, I'm ready. At first, it felt playful. The jokes landed, the crowd laughed, and Trump smirked as if he were winning. But about 10 minutes in, the laughter began to thin. The joke slowed. The air changed. The tension crept in quietly, then all at once. What followed would be replayed, dissected, and argued about for years. It was supposed to be a simple late-night interview. Light conversation, a few laughs, maybe a plug for Trump's new book. Colbert cracked jokes about its length, about Trump's flair for dramatic titles, about social media and ego. Trump fired back with digs about ratings and relevance. The crowd laughed until they didn't. The green room had buzzed earlier with excitement. When Trump first walked onto the stage, applause thundered. He waved broadly, soaking it in like a king greeting his court. This was supposed to be a small gathering, he joked, gestured outside. The cheers fed him. He thrived on it. Colbert shook his hand warmly. Good to see you again, Donald. Always a pleasure, Stephen, Trump replied, leaning back in his chair. Great show, great audience. Though I have to say, your ratings could use a little help. The crowd laughed, but Colbert's smile tightened just slightly. They moved to the book, The Art of the Comeback. Trump spoke proudly. It's about overcoming obstacles, winning. Some people are just born for success. It's in the genes. The right genes, Colbert echoed, eyebrow raised. Absolutely, Trump said. Some people just don't have what it takes. The audience murmured uneasily. Colbert leaned forward. So people struggling to pay rent, what do you say to them? Trump shrugged. I started with a small loan from my father and turned it into billions. A small loan? Colbert asked. How small? $1 million. Trump said dismissively. That's pocket change in business. Colbert let the silence linger. That's more money than most families will ever see in a lifetime, he said. You really think that's small? Trump's grin faltered. Just a bit. Then Colbert changed direction. You mentioned intelligence and vision, he said calmly. I was reading something interesting about how you handle contractors. Trump stiffened. What are you talking about? Colbert held up papers. Small businesses, construction crews, electricians, people who say they were never paid in full for work on your buildings. Trump's face flushed. That's absolutely false. I pay everyone what they deserve. These are court records, Colbert replied evenly. Are all these people lying? You're twisting facts, Trump snapped. Sometimes work isn't good enough. That's business. The crowd fell silent. No laughter, no clapping, just anticipation. So, Colbert said, unblinking, when a small company does work for you and you settle for less than you owe. Trump shot back, leaning forward. You've never built anything in your life. Colbert smiled thinly. Maybe not skyscrapers, but I've built trust, something your contractors say you never did. Gasps rippled through the studio. Trump slammed his hand on the desk. I don't need this. You ambushed me. Ambushed, Colbert replied. I asked about your record. You call yourself a success, but what kind of success leaves small businesses bankrupt? That was the breaking point. Trump ripped off his microphone. You're a washed-up comedian trying to stay relevant. This show is a joke. Colbert stood. Calm, steady. You can walk out, Donald. But the truth doesn't walk out with you. Security appeared at the edge of the stage. Trump glared. You're calling security on me? No one called them, Colbert said coolly. Maybe they just sensed the meltdown coming. As Trump was escorted off, shouting threats and insults, the cameras rolled on. The audience sat stunned. Colbert straightened his tie, looked directly into the lens, and said with measured calm, well, folks, that's something you don't see every day. We'll be right back. That night, millions watched a moment rarely seen on television. A man accustomed to controlling every room finally losing one. What was meant to be a friendly interview became a confrontation. One where bravado collided with accountability, and accountability didn't blink.